Mount Everest, the roof of the world. A dream for adventurers, a test of endurance, and for many, the ultimate challenge. But beneath its majestic beauty lies a dark truth. Everest is a graveyard, littered with the frozen remains of those who dared to climb it. Some bodies are so popular, they become referred to as mile markers, grim reminders of the fate that you can face attempting to summit this journey. And among these silent centennials, one story stands out among the rest. The story of Mount Everest's sleeping beauty, Francys Arseniev. Her story is one of love, ambition, tragedy, and the struggle for survival at the very limits of human possibility. Born Francys Yarborough de Stefano in Hawaii, Francys was not just another climber or mountaineer. She was a fiercely independent woman, extremely accomplished with a love for high peaks. In life, she found love, Sergei Arseniev, a skilled Russian climber, and together they made a formidable partnership. Their dream, to summit Mount Everest, but not just a summit. For Francys, this was something special. She wanted to achieve something truly remarkable, to be the first American woman to summit Everest without supplemental oxygen. Now, this task on its own is already extremely dangerous. Deciding to summit Everest is no feat that you just make lightly. A lot of people that decide to do this will train for years and years, as well as taking classes, paying for classes in advance, and when they get there, taking a class with the Sherpas just to make sure that they can be as safe as they can be summiting Everest. Even with all these stakes, there's still risk at hand. Not only that, Francys is trying to up the stakes even more. She wants to be the first person to summit without supplemental oxygen. She has no extra oxygen containers. She's just going raw dog. That's ballsy. This is not a casual aspiration. Climbing Everest without oxygen is an entirely different beast. It pushes the body to the absolute breaking point. It requires incredible acclimatization, strength, and mental fortitude to decide to do something like this, let alone accomplish it. In May of 1998, Francys and Sergei set out on their expedition to the Himalayas. Their expedition was well planned, meticulous, but Everest always has its own agenda. They faced delays, bad weather, and inherent difficulties from the Khumbu icefall. They spent weeks acclimatizing, moving from camp to camp as their bodies slowly got used to the thin air. Their initial summit attempts were thwarted by conditions. They retreated, rested, and recovered. The window for a successful summit was narrowing, and with mounting psychological pressure, mistakes often get made even more. This results from when desire outweighs caution. On May 21st, 1998, they began their summit from Camp 4 at 8,000 meters, which most of you would know is the death zone. This is where the human body begins to die, slowly but surely, step by step. Every decision made here is critical. They pushed through the night, but something was wrong. Francys was having issues with her oxygen regulator, and eventually they were forced to descend without having reached the summit. A crushing blow, but a safe decision. However, they rested only briefly. The dream of the summit, especially for Francys to achieve the no oxygen goal, was too strong. Against all conventional wisdom, and with Francys now using supplemental oxygen, a major deviation from her original plan, they decided to make another attempt. The mountain was calling, and they answered. On May 22nd, after over 2 days of extreme altitude, Francys and Sergei summited Mount Everest. I just wanted to pop in real quick while I'm editing this video and let you guys know if you like what you're watching, make sure you drop a comment, maybe suggest another video of this type. I'd 100% be open to more video ideas. Thank you for watching so far. I hope you're enjoying the video. Not going to waste your time for any longer. Drop a like if you enjoyed it. See you next time. Now at this point, this has got to be a huge victory for Francys and Sergei. I mean, it's already been a struggle getting up to the top. We know how rough the journey is. We've seen the videos, we've heard the stories. They definitely have as well. But now they're there. They're looking at all the flags, they're looking out over the world, and they're at the top. This is a huge moment of victory. But it doesn't last long. You're only halfway through the journey once you reach the peak. You still have to get back down. This was a monumental achievement. But, as we know, the victory was short-lived. The descent, as all experienced climbers know, is often more dangerous than the ascent. Somewhere during the arduous descent, in the dark and extreme cold, they became separated. It's unclear exactly how. Maybe one fell behind in the walking process, or they accidentally took separate routes because of the low visibility. We're not exactly sure, but Sergei turned around and Francys wasn't there. Sergei, like the loving husband he is, turned back, risking his own life for hours looking for his wife in the snow. Eventually, he found her. Francys was barely alive, suffering from frostbite, exhaustion, and lying cold in the snow. She was unable to move. What happened next haunted the mountain community for decades. Over the next 24 hours, at least 3 groups of climbers, including an Uzbek team, passed Francys. They saw her, a woman in a purple down suit slumped on a rope fixed next to the second step. Francys was clearly in distress. They tried to help her, but their attempts were brief, and they continued their descent. Of course, they are also fearing for their own lives within the death zone. This, however, as some of you know, is a brutal reality of Everest. At these extreme altitudes and winds, often trying to help or save someone else means you're sacrificing yourself. Resources start to run thin, time is critical, and the will to survive is paramount. The Uzbek team gave her oxygen and continued their descent, convinced she was beyond saving. Hours later, another team, led by British climber Ian Woodall and South African climber Cathy O'Dowd, found Francys. They recognized her from camp reports. What followed was an hours-long, agonizing attempt to save her. They gave her oxygen, warm liquids, tried to revive her, but nothing helped. Francys, conscious but barely responsive, kept repeating, "Don't leave me, don't leave me." Sergei, meanwhile, went back to try and find her again, which is where he was lost, presumably falling to his own doom. Woodall and O'Dowd made an extraordinary effort, far more than what most climbers would do at this altitude. But as the sun began to set and Francys's condition continued to decline, they too had to make an unthinkable decision. The weather was worsening, their own oxygen dwindling. To stay meant certain death for them. And after exhausting all efforts, with heavy hearts, they had to make the decision to leave her. Francys Arseniev passed away May 24th, 1998. Her body remained where she died, on the second step, a purple down coat as a grim reminder to those who passed. Eventually, Francys was so recognizable and remembered in her purple down on that second step, she was named Everest's Sleeping Beauty. Her husband Sergei was never found. Their love story, originating with hope and dreams, ended in the most desolate place on earth. For almost a decade, Francys lay there, sleeping in silence on the side of the mountain, until a remarkable act of respect finally came her way. In 2007, 9 years after her death, Ian Woodall returned to Mount Everest. He had been haunted by Francys's image, by her plea. With the help of his climbing partner, with immense difficulty and respect, he gently removed Francys's body off of the main route and covered her with an American flag. As well as the American flag, he left a note from her son, a final, selfless act of respect in an area often devoid of it. Francys Arseniev's story is a powerful one. It reminds us of the incredible human drive to explore, to achieve, to find greatness in their own lives. But it also tells the story of profound risks, extreme dilemmas, and the uncertainty of the majestic Mount Everest. Her Sleeping Beauty moniker is a poem etched in the ice, permanent reminder of those who paid the ultimate price to fulfill their dreams. Everest continues to draw climbers to this very day, and stories like Francys's, though heartbreaking, serve as crucial lessons. Everest is an adventure very few are willing to take, but those that do know that the ultimate price may be paid. Let this story serve as a reminder that sometimes, with great triumph, there can be great catastrophe.